up, everybody? I'm Alex. Here with my co-host, Hail Caesar. Together, we make up the Wolfpack Perspective podcast, talking about everything from video games to comic books, everything nerd-related in between.
Yeah, if you want politics or you want drama, do not come here. There may be drama in the comments, but we're not here to talk about anything outside of entertainment, nerd entertainment. That's what we like. That's what gives us the least amount of stress in life that I found out. Things that we can relate to that don't take a whole lot of thinking. Alex, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about the Predator franchise, something we both know quite a bit about, interested in. Want to start us off?
Well, you got to start out with, and what we're going to do, guys, is we're strictly going to focus on the 6 Predator movies, and that ties in the AVP movies also. We might bring up comics or games. However, that's going to be saved for a later video. We may even stream some of the video gameplay at some point. But if you hear us talk about it and we don't go into too much detail, it's not because we don't know it. It's just because it's not for this particular video. This is a brief discussion and a ranking at the end. And you got to start out any Predator with Predator, 1987's Predator. Arnold, Carl Weathers, Jesse the Body. You're in the jungles in Central America. You got the heat. Makes Cambodia feel like Kansas, one of my favorite places. And they're being hunted by something that they don't understand. It's not something they're familiar with, and you really do see that. These guys are trained, hardened killers. They're rescue. They're not assassins, but they don't understand the Yacha. We don't understand it yet either. We know it's camouflage. We know it's big. We know it's tough. We know it's strong. We know it's kind of scary given the situation. Did they come across as being scared to you?
At times. I think that's what made that movie great. You got big muscle bound, meatheads afraid because they don't know what's killing them.
That's the 80s, baby. That's the way we did it.
Yeah, I can't touch on that.
Yeah, 80s were good for that, man. Arnold was great. Carl Weathers was great. People kind of crap on it sometimes due to the one-liners. Man, I love the one-liners. I still love one-liners. I don't think that goes out of style. It's just that was part of what made that culture in the 80s so great.
To me, it's the best movie. It's the best movie.
That was your favorite. Any particular thing about it?
As a kid, it was the first. I can remember that movie before I even knew what it was called. I remember watching it as a kid, being terrified. Like, Dad, the invisible things killing the soldiers. Like, no idea, but I still remember that to this day. And great actors for the time. You got Arnold in his prime acting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Set up the rest of the franchise from that point on.
Truly one of our favorite intellectual properties. The IP in that's what started it. Then you move on into Predator 2 in 1990. It was set a decade apart. What kind is your feeling on Predator 2?
It didn't live up. Sequel didn't live up to the original in that movie for me. Like the movie, like moving into the concrete jungle, into the city. Love Bill Paxton, arguably one of my favorite actors of all time. Danny Glover, Predator matchup, great matchup. To me, the movie just kind of felt video gamey at times. Felt like it was designed around a video game. The drug lords, kind of cheesy. The movie just
realistic in LA.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close to LA. As you can tell, we're from nowhere near California just by the redneck accents. But no, what are your thoughts on it? I know you kind of have a differing opinion.
I like Glover. I like him as an actor. Gary Busey was in it. Man, anything Gary Busey was in back then I thought was pretty good. I thought he was a good character actor. Bill Paxton, one of our favorites. Love Bill Paxton. I didn't feel that Glover's character Harrigan was a good matchup for the Predator. He's kind of an older, out-of-shape cop. Definitely had the cleverness. I think he was a detective, so they're generally fairly smart. Didn't like the matchup. And ultimately, for me, the highlight was that the drug lords were getting hacked to pieces in brutal ways because they do that to normal people. So it was good to see a little retribution there. But it's kind of forgettable, man. It moved the IP along, but nothing like the first one.
And ultimately, that ending, as we've talked before, seeing all the the Predator ship, all the other Predators coming out of the shadows, the Xenomorph skull, which ultimately set up the next movie we're going to talk about, the Alien versus Predator, the first installment of that matchup everybody waited for.
Yeah, so you got Alien versus Predator. The first time on big screen, these two crossover. They'd crossed over in comics plenty of before, especially the Dark Horse, big Dark Horse fan. Uh, you started out with the great Lance Henriksen coming from the Aliens movies, really kind of, again, tying things together. He gets an exploration team because his company has discovered an underground pyramid, and that leads to the Predator coming back to Earth, actually three of them at the time, the Xenomorph Queen, and the Facehuggers. They all start getting awakened in the chamber. Again, man, not meant to meddle, but they decided to meddle, and as a result, you get the fruits of that. How'd that work out for them?
Not good. No, man, that movie's probably one of my favorites. As far as the extended lore goes, 2010 video game, awesome, my opinion. I know you've played it. I kind of wish that's the direction the movie would have went, but it didn't. As far as the movie story, could have been worse, could have been better, but introduced my top favorite Predators, Celtic Predator, best looking Predator in the whole franchise, I think. The Elder Predator, Elder Predator at the end. Don't really have any story. Is killed off early in the second one, but hey, he's a bad looking dude. That's all you can say.
Celtic looked cool. He really did. You had Chopper. Chopper got taken out pretty quick by that fishnet alien, which, he was kind of a beast. Then you had Scar. Scar was awesome. Definitely the alpha male pack leader of the three that came in. And I always enjoy movies where, and in this one, the lead protagonist was Santa Lathan. She played Lexa or Alexis. I can't quite remember. She was a lead exploration. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a warrior. She was clever. She knew the terrain. And her and Scar joined forces. He marked her. I think that's always neat to see in these movies. And they went up against the Queen. She ultimately survived. Scar didn't make it through. And the Queen didn't make it through. So she's no Sigourney Weaver. She's no Ripley. But I thought she'd done a great job.
Yeah.
And it leads us into the very next movie, set a few years later. Or correction, that was actually set. I don't know what the time frame is on that.
I'm not sure on that.
A few weeks, maybe at the most.
I think it probably says at the beginning. No. It's right after. It's actually right after because the Pred alien bursts out of Scar's chest right at the beginning and they crash. So it's the same time frame.
And finishing off on AVP, that was one of the things I didn't care much for. Alex likes the Pred alien. I didn't like the Pred alien. Still don't like the Pred alien. But
I like the Pred alien in the video game. Now the next movie, I don't have much good to say about the next movie in general. The Wolf Predator, awesome. The rest of the movie, one of the biggest complaints I've ever seen is you can't see anything because the movie's so dark. And that's the first time I watched that movie. That's exactly what I thought. I thought my TV was broken because I couldn't see what was going on. But,
hey, man, it kind of made it a little more intense. I mean, the things you can't see, the shadows seem like they're always moving. Kind of going back to that video game, man. That was scary in ways because of how dark it was, and that had the xenomorphs running around. But
yeah,
that was a lot of people's knock on it. Lighting.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint. I know we've talked about this before. There's just no main character. Every movie before this, you had a pretty established main character. This movie, this just seems like it struggles to figure out who you're supposed to care about and who you're not. To be honest, I cared more about the wolf predator than any of the human predators or the humans in the entire movie.
Well, yeah, it sucks seeing Wolf go down. You kind of figured he does. They usually do. Let's be honest. Predators usually go down. They fight. They go down hard. It had the small town cast of characters. They tried to give you a little bit of background on everybody so that you would care. And we've talked about this off camera before. I guess your main character was the convict. He gets out of jail. He's running around with the sheriff. They're hanging out and solving mysteries together in the first 30 minutes of the movie, which seemed a little, they knew each other. Seemed a little bit weird to me, I would think, that they care what this guy's opinion is, the convict. But, you got his little brother. You got his high school crush. You got the classic Johnny Lawrence looking bad guys in the high school. I liked what they were going with, kind of, but it didn't work. It just didn't work.
It fell short. I think as a whole, it fell short. The next movie to me fell short, but I think this is probably one of your favorites. So I'll let you take off on this one.
Yeah, don't even start on this one. Predators. Robert Rodriguez, my favorite director, writer, probably of all time. He produced the movie. I'm pretty positive. I can't remember the director off the top of my head, but You wake up, movie starts, everybody's in free fall. You've got mercenaries, you've got Yakuza, you've got cartel members, you've got a sniper from the Israeli Special Forces in Isabella. They all crash land. They decide not to kill each other, and then they got to figure out what's going on. Clearly, they're in over their heads. They figure out from the get-go that this is not Earth, or it's no jungle that they've ever been in. It takes a little while to get there, but
Yeah.
the favorite. I really like the Adrian Brody's character, Royce. He's probably my favorite human character in the franchise. Kind of believable, military guy, cold-blooded guy. I know guys just like that, and I have a feeling those guys would survive longer than the rest of us would. You know exactly who I'm talking about, probably. Very pragmatic, cold-blooded. Love Royce.
I don't dislike the movie. It's probably in the top 3, which in this franchise, as a disclaimer, they're all good movies. I enjoy them all in their own perspective ways, but
and we're biased, guys. We're biased.
Yeah. This movie, though, for me, I like it. I don't care for the main character. I know he's one of your favorites. I don't really care for the story that much. Now that I look back on it, it almost is the counteractive of AVPR. AVPR wanted to put the predators, this could be your neighborhood, this could be your street, this could be that. This movie kind of is like, unless you're a super soldier, you have nothing to worry about because this is happening on a planet that we don't know where it is. We don't know where this is. It just doesn't feel as like relatable or that this could actually happen to me, which obviously none of this could happen to you, but you never know. You never know.
You never know. We get inspiration from something, right? Yeah, and I think this for me had the best dialogue, as we've talked about before. Isabella starts talking about the topography of the landscape. She knew immediately that this wasn't, I believe she might have said Brazil or Southeast Asia. She knew immediately the climate wasn't right. They tried to make a compass. They put a leaf on the water with a hairpin in it. It just spun in every direction, saying that something is off. And then you get the, big reveal of the suns in the background. And clearly they know. But you had the mercenary and Royce talking about deadfall traps. They could recognize what was going on, and they talked about it. I was a big fan of the dialogue. To me, that movie really didn't have any negatives. I was a fan from start to finish.
I think that movie's probably the closest to the original out of everything we got after the original. I think it strived to be the original.
Yeah. Now moving on to the final movie, which is probably not my favorite, could be your favorites.
Definitely
The Predator.
Definitely
2018. 2018's The Predator. Go.
Trying to think of good things to say, man. It's shot good cinema. Oh my gosh, cinematography.
Dude, The Predator's got you all jacked up right now. You need some
it's this movie, man. I just
does that to you.
Finding something good to say. I hated the Super Predator. I will admit, like the Assassin Predator or the normal size Predator that come in. I liked his look. Thought it was a new look they hadn't seen before. Yeah. That was neat. The cast is okay. A lot of all new characters. Other than that, man, other than that, the story, everything else, it lost me.
I would say definitely the worst part of it, didn't like the human DNA, didn't like them being spliced with human DNA. Predators were way smarter than us to begin with, so why they would think integrating our DNA into theirs is going to help, I don't see that as being a thing. Didn't like the upgraded Predator running around like a badass. He was, but I didn't like him. Didn't like his skin being armor, basically. Liked Boyd Holbrook. Done a pretty good job. Liked Olivia Munn. She was a big thing with Aaron Rodgers for a while. They had a thing on the internet. You can look it up. It's pretty cool. Thomas Jane was in it. He was cool. He was a good Punisher. And the Predator dogs were cute as could be, man. They had them little what was it, braids they had going? Rocking the braids with the Predator face. I like that. I thought that looked good, actually. I would like to have one of those. But that was the highlight for me, and that's the only good I can say about it. It wasn't a great movie by no means, and I ain't going to try to blow it up.
So going off that, I think it's safe to say The Predator is at the bottom of our list as far as the ranking from worst to best.
Absolutely.
What's your list from there on out?
Well, I gave that one a 4 out of 10. Moving on up the list is Predator 2. gave it a 5 out of 10. Then I move on up the list to AVPR was a 5 out of 10. AVP was a 6 out of 10. Although, actually, I'll take that back. I'm going to make that a 7 out of 10. I love the first crossover. I actually like some of the characters in that. And then moving up, the second ranked was Predators, even though I like that one probably almost the most. It's not the OG. I give it a 9 out of 10, but Predator is the OG. It introduced us to the IP, which is the Predator franchise. It's hard to go against that.
Yeah. Obviously, the Predator for me, worst. Going on from there, AVPR. Give that probably like a. All of these are at least 5 out of 10 for me. Maybe 6 out of 10. I give the first one, the Predator, 6 out of 10. AVPR, 6.5 out of 10. Predator 2, 7 out of 10. Predators, 7.5, 7 out of 10. AVP, 8 out of 10. The story went a little bit better. I think it could have been a 10 out of 10. But the OG, 9 out of 10. You're not going to get a better rank out of me than 9 out of 10. That movie, I have very few complaints about that movie.
We're going to touch on another franchise here in the next few days, maybe a few weeks. And our rankings always go from 1 to 10, 1 being worst, 10 being the best. And the way we rank sci-fi horror movies that's their own ranking. That's not going to be the way we'd rank, some award-winning movie. We're not getting into those really anyway, I wouldn't imagine. But we don't rank Forrest Gump the way we rank AVP. But that being said, that's our list. I don't know, Alex, we're doing pretty good on time right now, actually.
Yeah.
Got a few minutes.
Anything you want to touch on in the downtime? Any last finishing comments?
I would encourage everybody to watch it. The franchise makes money every time they produce a movie. They almost make double. So that's always a good thing. That means it's going to keep making money. We're both really nervous about the acquisition of Aliens and Predator by Disney. We're both nervous. Those are adult, dark entities, and we don't know that Disney's going to do them justice. I think Disney has already dropped the ball on the Alien comics, which, again, not touching on much. That'll be a later video. But they're already dropping the ball a little bit. We are going to watch the new movie on Hulu when it comes out. We may even stream it. I don't know yet, but we're going to give it a fair chance. I ain't going to touch on the story yet. It's a little controversial. You can see the diehard fans are ultimately against it already. We're going to go into it with an open mind.
Oh, yeah. Go into everything with an open mind. Don't let other people make your opinions for you. Don't listen to what other people say.
And that's where we're at. We don't care. We don't let other people's opinions drive what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be shooting a stand video. Everybody's a hater. It's fine. Do your life. You do your life.
And ultimately, if you disagree with everything we just said, that's cool too. Leave it in the comments. Give us future video ideas. We're just starting this podcast, so this is kind of the foundation. Now it's time to build the house. So we need some help figuring out what to talk about next.
Inaugural first episode, guys. Inaugural first episode. We have a perspective on a lot of different things, mostly related to nerd stuff, because the other stuff ain't worth talking about. You hear all about it on TV. We're here to talk about things that we don't hear about on TV as much. We want to enjoy.
With that, leave a like, share this video, comment, hate comment, support comment, doesn't matter.
Free speech.
Yeah, free speech. Give us your thoughts and opinions. We'll catch you on the next video.